How does a failed actor, a university dropout, a physics tutor making $60 a month go from this?
Today we will deal with the topic the electric dipole. I have two balls and I'm pouring charge in it.
To building a $5.2 billion company in 10 years. It's not because he wanted to get rich. In fact, he didn't even want to become an entrepreneur.
This has always been my biggest fire, to do something for my mother. I had to achieve something.
Yet he took on edtech giants funded by the most powerful investors on earth. Netflix made a show about him. Amazon made a show about him. Hundreds of millions of students know his name. But you don't.
There is nothing for me to lose. And it's only when you don't have anything to lose, you are free to do anything.
This is the greatest YouTube success story the West has never heard. Being born in Prayagraj, India, things were good. Middle-class household, education, friends. Not the home of extravagance, but not the home of desperation either. Alakh's dream was to become an actor. He liked the attention, he had a bit of character, even if he was a total amateur. He'd do entertaining performances in the street to friends and, well, anyone who'd watch. But at 13 years old, everything changed. Alakh's dad announced that his business had failed. They had to sell the home and move into the slum. His dream of acting would have to wait. His friends were getting girlfriends, they were going out, living life. Alakh was watching his family manage the shame of failure. Without many options, he started tutoring younger kids.
I used to give tuitions, going from house to house. And we were living in a rented place, in a slum. At that time, I was driven by just one thing, money.
But he wasn't ready to give up on his goals. As he got older, he thought he'd go for one of India's top universities, the prestigious IITs, the Indian Institute of Technology. But first, I need to explain what actually is an IIT. There are 1.4 billion people in India. The best opportunities go to people at the best universities. The prestigious IITs, India's institutions of technology, is the gold standard. But there are only 23 of them, and over 1.4 million students taking the tests to get in each year, with just 18,000 places. Harvard has a 4.2 admission rate, the IIT 1.2. Getting in can change a family's trajectory forever. Google's CEO is an IITian. And this thing has opened a massive industry outside the core education space. Indian schools give a basic education to help you pass, but doesn't really prepare you for this exam. Most of these tutorings are incredibly expensive, ranging from 1,500 to 2,000. Some parents put outrageous pressure on their kids just to get in.
They think of themselves as being a failure. And even some of their family members think of them being a failure, which is totally ridiculous.
The average medium salary for the bottom 50% of India is $750. And that's not a monthly salary, that's every single year. So the idea that their child can have a tutor to get into this prestigious IIT, it's a pipe dream. But some go into debt just to try and make it happen. So he applied to an IIT. He didn't have any money for tutoring, but he knew the curriculum well. He studied hard. This was his chance to escape poverty. But when the results came back,
I myself couldn't crack the competitive exams IIT. I didn't go to any IIT.
I never got any coaching, nothing organized, nothing formal. That pain stayed inside me.
Alakh had given everything and still didn't make it. He was gutted. After failing the IIT, he did what most people would do. He took the safe path. Took out a $2,000 loan to study mechanical engineering. Now, this is someone who dreamed of being an actor. He'd failed at a top engineering school, the IIT, and was now studying mechanical engineering at a local university. Everything normal. But after compromising on his dreams, he wasn't happy.
In second year, I got talking to seniors working in industry, and they said, none of this is going to be any use to you. Look, nothing from this is going to be any use.
Time wasted, body wasted, mind wasted, lying to the family at home.
Teachers wouldn't show up, they weren't engaging, they didn't care.
I felt a kind of depression, a darkness here. I started crying alone in my room.
In his third year with just 1 year left, he did something that no one expected. To the horror of his family and everyone around him, he dropped out. He moved back home and went back to what he always did with no other options, tutoring at a local institution. Now, This would be a trend with Alakh. If he didn't know what path to take, he'd follow his heart, even if it didn't make sense. Living back at home, he was earning $60 a month. It was hardly a great start, but strangely, he loved it. As a kid, all he'd wanted to do was act. Now the classroom was his stage.
What I enjoy most is acting.
It became a performance, like an actor on the stage.
Competency follows joy, and unsurprisingly, students' grades started to rise. Word spread fast about this engaging science tutor. Chairs became hard to find and classrooms filled fast. Dropping out of university turned out to be not so disastrous after all.
So back then it looked like the worst decision, but today it looked like the best decision, taking such a big risk.
But after a couple of years of coaching, something started to weigh on him once again. You see, India's got 360 million people of education age, desperate not only for IIT, but for quality education. He started to realize his impact was being capped by the cramped rooms that he taught in. He didn't want to serve the neighborhood, he wanted to serve the world. Alakh could finally start to live, date, go out, all the things that he couldn't do when he was 13. Instead,
Hello friends, today we will deal with the topic electrostats.
his mission, every young person can access quality education regardless of income.
At the time I started, the only thing in my head was, let my lectures reach more kids, get them out to more people.
There's this strange paradox with YouTube. There are nearly 3 billion people that use it every single month, and every time you open the app, you're greeted by millions of views. But when you upload, when it's your turn, nothing, nothing, nothing.
No views were coming. I couldn't sleep at night.
And he kept uploading and uploading and uploading. He was on a mission, give the poorest kids the best education. After a year of posting, he'd amassed 10,000 subscribers. Not amazing, but not nothing. He quit tutoring and went all in. With YouTube, there are years when nothing happens and weeks when everything happens. In 2018, the channel blows up. He went from 150,000 subscribers to 2 million. Hundreds of thousands of views a video, tens of millions of views a month. Young students from all over the country were loving the content. Physics Wallah wasn't a class, it wasn't a video, it's an emotion. More than just teaching, he'd be inspiring, he'd believe in them, he'd motivate them to be great in life.
So they say that PW is not a company, it's an emotions.
After years of posting, Alakh had earned his luck. This university dropout went on to build the biggest science channel in India. The bet had paid off, but as views started to fly in, something started to eat at Alakh once again. His YouTube was this amazing base to teach millions of people from all corners of India. But the only way to get into these prestigious IITs, the only coaching options were too expensive. They were $1,500, $2,000 available to the wealthy. Alakh couldn't afford this as a kid and didn't think it was right. He wanted to truly transform the lives of young people through education. So once again, he launches himself into the unknown, and little did he know, this would be his hardest battle yet. Four years after starting his YouTube channel, he partners with Pratik Mashawari, a seasoned entrepreneur in the education space. Together they would democratize education with the Physics Wallah app.
My co-founder Pratik was with me. When we stepped out, I felt really scared, had a very strange feeling. I said, maybe even we won't be able to do it.
Alakh focused on teaching, Pratik was on tech.
If he is revenue, I am profit. If he is scale, I am NPS. If he is tech, I am product. So we have the responsibility. If he is young, I am young.
Their first course, $10. Alakh had never done this for money. He just wanted to help the most people in the deepest way. Price was to pay for servers, tech, and the small office. They still hadn't raised any investment.
We stand for free education, affordable education, and we want to teach every kid of Bharat.
After nearly a decade tutoring, years on YouTube, months of work, they launched their first course. Day 1, the app broke. Day 2, broke. Day 3, day 4, day 5, broke. Originally, they'd expected 25,000 people who'd be using the app. They got 200,000 signups.
I still remember our first live class. It crashed.
Alakh was shattered and personally issued refunds to students.
Sometimes I think, enough Alakh, get out. How long will all this go on?
But it was in this moment he realized something that would change everything. He wasn't just a science teacher on YouTube anymore. He was now an edtech founder, and this place was a bloodbath. Launching an Indian edtech company in 2020 was one of the most competitive times in history. There were 3 once-in-a-century things happening all at once. The first, the size of the market. There was 250 million students. Suddenly with edtech, one teacher could serve them all. This space was growing as well. It was expected to 10x in just 15 years. 2, mobile phones and data. The cost of data had gone from $3.60 when Alakh started tutoring in 2014 to just 15 cents in 2020. This was a 25-time decrease. This has opened up this huge opportunity for online education providers. Number 3, COVID. During the pandemic, online education went from optional to essential. Once-in-a-century event accelerated all other variables and opened up a flood of cheap global capital. In 2019, companies had raised $617 million. In 2020, that number was $2.3 billion. In 2021, it was $4.2 billion, nearly a 600% increase from just 2 years prior. The biggest provider, a company called Baiju. And the same year Alakh had started posting on YouTube, Baiju had raised
$50 million in a fresh funding round. Funding from the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. Baiju's is now at that sweet spot of its growth story where the unit economics and the economies of scale both are in its favor.
And this was just one competitor. There were 5 others who'd raised a total of $7 billion. And this does bring into question the state of education in India. Why are private education companies so valuable in the first place? The fact that there's a need for them highlights the problem with the free education. Anyway, Physics Wallah had failed IIT. He dropped out of university. His app was hardly working. And for the first time in his journey, money was holding him back. They reluctantly raised $100 million for 9% of the company. And in doing so, Physics Wallah had $1 billion company. And this wasn't this crazy celebration. This was just to survive.
Lifestyle hasn't changed. I've just got a backing now.
By the end of 2022, Baiju had raised around $5.7 billion.
Today, edtech unicorn Baiju's last valued at $22 billion.
And is now the most valuable edtech company in the world. The proposition to investors was clear. The best teachers can now impact tens of millions of kids, and the companies who get there first can dominate the category for decades. It was a winner-takes-all scenario. So what do you do with billions of dollars that you've just raised? Well, you hire the best teachers. First, it was double salaries, then triple salaries, then 100 times the salaries. These people literally had billions of dollars in cash. Usually tutors were paid $60 to $100 a month. Now they were offered hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And where did they start? By this stage, Alakh had set up other channels to help in areas outside of just physics. He had 100 channels with different teachers helping students with the same mission. They all got poached. Imagine how hard it is to run a business when your key people are being offered 10 times what you're paying.
We are not going to be afraid of anything. We are not going to bow to anything. We are not going anywhere. You will take one away. I will stand up 100 Alakh Pandeys again.
And this was just one problem. The next, marketing. Baiju had sponsored India's largest actor, the Indian cricket team, reaching 700 million people a year, and even the GOAT of football, Leonardo Messi himself. The $100 million that Physics Wallah had raised looked like nothing. Another competitor saw so much potential in Physics Wallah, they tried to pay him exclusively to teach on their platform. The price? It was never quite reported the exact figures, but it was $5 to $9 million.
That company said, come join us. We'll launch your course at 8,000 rupees for 3 months of physics. I said, at that price, the kind of kid who studies with me won't even be able to afford it. They said, you don't need to teach all the kids. That one line just stuck in me. I said, no, I want to teach every single kid. I took that exact line, why teach all the kids, and made it my mission.
Things were looking bleak, but while Baiju and these other companies had been raising investment, Alakh had been quietly raising something else. It wasn't sexy, it wasn't glamorous, and it was earned one upload at a time. Trust.
What we are doing different, we listen to the student first of all. We listen to their grievances.
And it didn't stop once he'd raised money. While the marketing of other companies relied on sponsorship, his marketing was service. He didn't care about dominating edtech or entrepreneurship or any of that stuff. He cared about his students. Instead of star-studding events, he ran Days of Faith events where he'd celebrate education. Every day, normal teachers would provide life advice to kids beyond just the curriculum. Students would meet their online tutors in person for the first time, and hard work was celebrated, but so was life, so was things outside of just work. While companies were obsessed with the cost to acquire a user, he'd tell his team, stop calling these users, these are people, these are our students.
Tech people don't understand, they still say user. So we say they're not users, they're kids.
Physics Wallah raised another $280 million, this time giving the company a $2.8 billion valuation. Again, this was not a celebration, this was just to stay in the game. The battle for new users was an aggressive one, and the edtech entrepreneurs started to get desperate. Baiju had assembled an aggressive door-to-door sales army. They'd manipulate families to take out loans and guilt-trip them into going into debt. Their free YouTube videos would aggressively funnel people into $2,000 paid programs. But despite this, the edtech companies started to shake. They couldn't fulfill on investor promises, and there just weren't enough students willing to pay their prices. They'd aggressively tried to acquire students, but now they were aggressively trying to cut costs.
That Unacademy has laid off close to 250 employees.
The edtech giant has vacated its offices across the country. This is more likely about cost cutting.
But it was too late.
Byju's is out of money.
Once valued at $22 billion, the company is now battling insolvency, angry investors, and global lawsuits.
They were ordered to pay back $1 billion in loans until eventually
Baiju Ravindran has been sentenced to 6 months in jail by a Singapore court.
And listen this very carefully. There's an Einstein in India who is selling tea on the roads of Bihar. There's a Madame Curie in India who is selling momos on the roads of Gurgaon. And we have to bring them to the real Indian economy. That is the mission of Physics Wallah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
In West Bengali, Sheikh Sarafas was carrying 400 bricks a day as a bricklayer. He borrowed an old mobile phone from one of his teachers. It was kind of broken, so he had to turn it on with a pen. He watched every Physics Wallah video released, and he went on to achieve one of the highest exam scores in India, and now studies in Nil Ratan Sakar Medical College. This man refused his circumstances and rewrote his destiny. Ruby's dad drove a rickshaw 12 hours a day. Her younger brother had passed away, so her dream was to become a doctor. She'd failed 3 times, but on the 4th attempt, found an enthusiastic science teacher on YouTube. She went on to study at one of Delhi's top medical colleges. She changed the stars for herself, her family, and her village. While competition were arms with billions, Physics Wallah never strayed from his only weapon, his purpose. In 2025, his company went public. Today, he has a multi-billion-dollar company. They've got 200 physical locations all around India and employ nearly 15,000 staff. The aspiring actor has generated 3 billion views and is now worth more than India's biggest actor. But this story is not one of money, it's one of impact. Because more than electrons and magnetic fields, he reminded the world of something else.
You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and that will make all the difference.